Welcome to Envisioned Broadcasting, the station designed to encourage, equip, and empower you for growth and success. Presents Women Emerge with Melissa Lambert, a show that shines a light on spiritual growth, health, purpose, and financial education. It's time to emerge and begin to live out your dreams, walk into your destiny, while making a difference in the lives of many.
Welcome to Women Emerge with Melissa Lambert. I am your host, and it's always an honor and a pleasure to be with you another Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, everyone. You are tuned in to another special episode. Just before we get started, this show is being sponsored by Women Emerge Network, a network created for you in mind. This has also been sponsored by Lambert Legacy Financial. And I am just excited to have this special guest on today. Today is Wellness Wednesday, and every Wednesday I want you to tune in to learn with us as we explore everything related to wellness. While many people think of wellness solely in terms of their health, this show will cover spiritual wellness, physical health, wealth, and mental wellness. Today is a special day because every fourth Wednesday, I do have the CEO of Holistically Divine Counseling, Sherri S. Wick, who comes here to really share with us some great information on how we can be able to stay in a great state of mind in our mental health. And today she's going to be discussing all things related to mental wellness. So please welcome Sherri Wick, and she is going to share some great information today. So tune in and learn. And great job, Sherri. I know that this information is going to truly reach our audience. Welcome, Sherri.
Melissa, thank you so much for that introduction. I am always so grateful to be with you all on our Wednesday our Wellness Wednesday. As Melissa shared, I am Sherri S. Wick. I am the CEO and visionary of Holistically Divine Counseling, and we are a telehealth, mental health, private practice that supports those who are ready and committed to doing the work for optimal health, optimal wellness. And so we are based in Illinois, and we provide services virtually. And one of many things that I am so passionate about is helping people to understand that wellness is not just physical health. Wellness is not just emotional and mental health. Wellness is holistic. It includes, and I've talked about this before and I'll continue talking about it again, it is inclusive of the 8 dimensions of wellness. This is an understanding that wellness there's this intersectionality. To be well means that we have to touch on those areas. And we're not touching on those areas to figure out how to balance them. There's no such thing. At least that's what I believe, that it's more about integrating it. It's more about being aware of the areas that need a little bit more love, affection, touch, and insight into. And so this week, I'll actually be focusing on 2 areas of the 8 dimensions of wellness. And that is going to be environmental wellness and spiritual wellness. So if you all have your notebook, your pen, your phone, if you're in a space where you can write down some notes and some tips, I would encourage that. If you aren't able to because you're cruising or, you're just getting some things together within your home or at work and you want to just listen in, please make sure to come back to this episode so that you can take some real thorough notes. So one of the things that I recognized this past month was that I wanted to do some things differently, not just for myself, but also for my home. And so this month, my family and I, we decided that for September, we're gonna shake things up a bit. And so we each had a goal. And so My son's goal was to learn to cook a dish. Now, the dish could be something, what I would say something easier. So say it's just scrambled eggs. Or it was something like, hey, I really want to understand how to safely use the stove. Okay. And my husband was to really focus on creating his wind down routine where there's no technology after or, by 11 o'clock. Mine was, and this is a big deal for me, mine was learning how to rest on Sundays. Learning how to rest on Sundays. So rest is a powerful, powerful, powerful and transformative tool, strategy, or technique, whichever word really resonates with you, in the ability to be well. And so something that I am actively doing and actively pursuing in spaces where I'm wanting to provide education on holistic wellness, on mental wellness, on spiritual wellness, is I am redefining what it means to be well. I'm redefining what it means to be well. And that's a call to action for you. What does it mean to be well right now, and what has it meant for you? And if you were to redefine it based on all the things that you know and all the things that you continue learning, how would you redefine what it means to be well? And so before I jump to that spiritual wellness, which I believe spiritual wellness is connected to rest, I want to talk about environmental wellness. So environmental wellness is truly the relationship between you or me and my environment and your environment. And so I'm going to give live examples of what it means for me to have this relationship, a healthy, supportive, fruitful relationship with my environment. And so one thing that I think of and that's important to share is I start with my physical environment, my home. Some people may start with their home. Some people may start with their office because maybe they spend, majority of their time in their office. So whichever space you want to start with, please, whatever really works for you. So what is your environment like? When I say what is your environment like, the invitation is to reflect on when you walk into that space, how does it feel? How does it feel emotionally? What do you experience mentally? What do you experience physically? What's going on with your five senses, right? So I'm going to use my home as my example. When I walk into my home, and I've said this before, and I'll continue saying this, I'm grateful for my mom because she taught me that our home was a sanctuary, a place of safety. Now I'm grateful. Every single day I'm grateful then, and I'm grateful now that that is a luxury. That's a privilege. Not everyone has that space. And so I'm very mindful to be able to just walk into my space and first say, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for this sanctuary. I'm grateful for this safety. I'm grateful for a place and a space of peace. For those that are out there that are striving for that, please keep striving. For those that are out there that hadn't even recognized that your space is not even your sanctuary or safety, I encourage you, wherever you are, when you're listening to this, look out, reach out for support. There are organizations out there that help ensure that you have safety within your home. And so when I think of my space, when I enter into my space, I feel and experience gratitude. And that's what's first coming out of my mouth is appreciation and gratitude. And I sit with that. I take time to really honor that. The other is there are windows within my home that are big, and it allows that sunlight to come in. I'm so grateful and appreciative of the sunlight that enters in our home. prior to us living in this home, we had another home where there wasn't this level of sunlight. And let me tell you, I could tell the difference. I could really tell the difference in how that sunlight impacts my mood, my energy, my appreciation. And I think back to the other home that we were in, my family was in, and wow, I can remember wanting that sunlight. And so for me, that sunlight is a way for me to even connect, right, to that spirituality piece, connect to my own faith. The other area within environmental wellness within my home is this peace and this quietness. This peace and this quiet, and I do mean the sounds or lack thereof. There is a gentle, soft peace. Now, that's something that you have to actively create. That means that we're not bickering back and forth. We're not arguing back and forth. We're not yelling back and forth to be heard, to be seen. Again, a privilege, right? But we are very mindful of the way that we interact. Me and my family, and even friends that come into the space, that we interact with each other. Because again, the goal of our home is to be a place of peace, to be a sanctuary, to create a sense of calm. Because mentally and emotionally, we know the external, so the outside world, it's busy. It feels and is chaotic. Social media is overwhelming. We are often dysregulated because there's so much noise and so much chaos. So when you think about the way in which you want to experience your environment, I invite you all to consider that your home environment is of peace, so that you get a break and your body gets a break, and that your body comes back to this place of homeostasis. And I've said it before on other episodes, how important it is for the body to return to homeostasis, a place of calm, after going through that fight, flight, freeze, or fawn within our nervous system. The body is trained, it's created to return back to a place of calm, a place of balance. And so it's so important to find and create those spaces for the body, because it needs it. It needs to return to a place of calm. That allows for the body to heal the way it needs to. One of the things that I've recognized within the environmental wellness within my home is I began to see things that I wasn't using. So an example could be, I would see maybe shoes that, I'm wanting to be comfortable, especially as I practice physical wellness. And we'll talk about that later on another episode. But as I practice physical wellness to ensure that my lower back heals. I don't know how many of you all have ever experienced lower back issues. Of course, there are many reasons why you may experience that. And one of them for me is back in the day, trying to be cute in my heels and shoes that were really, really, truly uncomfortable for my body and what my body needed. And so in practicing environmental wellness, my relationship with my home environment, I began looking at things like my shoes and seeing and saying, hey, those shoes are cute, but that's not what my body needs. And so being able to say, you know what, I'm committing to living a more minimalistic, and I know you've seen or heard that language out there, but a more simplistic or minimalistic life. And so what I started doing, and I encourage you all to consider this if you can, again, if you can, is I was looking at things like my shoes and even clothes. And if it wasn't serving or helping my body, then I would then donate them. And so what that did for my physical space, it created this openness. It created an opportunity for areas within my home to be less cluttered, less chaotic. And what it created in my mind was clarity. It created a sense of even openness in my mind. And so I ask you all to think about, if you were to walk into your home, and you see, shoes that you really don't wear, or maybe they don't serve your body, or boxes that really could be put up somewhere, what would happen if you would remove those and create a space that is more simplistic or minimalistic? I would argue or encourage that you would feel a sense of openness, and your mind would be less cluttered or less chaotic. So that is something that I am practicing. Same with clothes. My rule of thumb really is, and of course it depends on the season, you all. If I'm not wearing these items, I'll check in with myself. If I'm not wearing this shirt or pair of jeans in my 30-day span, right, in my month span, and as a clinician, I have my certain outfits that I wear, and because it's telehealth, really we're just talking about your tops, right, the shirts. But as I go out to networking community, I still have my go-to outfits. One of the reasons is because I feel encouraged, I feel inspired in the clothing, right, in the clothing that I'm wearing. I feel a sense of empowerment that helps me to be able to communicate and network with people and advertise or market my organization and the work that we do. So I have my set attire that I wear. So outside of that, if there are clothing items that I'm just really not wearing, I'm not cycling through them at all, then I'm going to donate them. Why? Because I want to be mindful of my environment and the relationship I have with my environment. If I'm not wearing those, it's really just hanging around, literally, and I'm not utilizing it. And so that's really not supportive to my goal and the relationship that I would like to have with my environment. For those that have maybe boxes and totes, or things that you need to ship off or mail off or put in storage, the question is, why are they still out? The question is, why are they still out? Maybe the answer is, I just haven't had the time to. And I would ask that you all consider to create the space, literally, quite literally, figuratively and literally. Create the space, the time to do what not only the environment, your home needs, or again, your office needs, and what your mind needs. Your mind needs, as often as possible, the opportunity to reset, the opportunity to calm itself, the opportunity to be at a place of peace. And so that's the practice that I am working on daily. I'm looking at areas. For example, I'm looking at my bookshelf. What are the books that, I could put away? I have them out with the goal to read, and it's stacking up on my desk. There's all these books as an entrepreneur, but am I reading them, or can I file them away? Can I put them away for when I know that I'm going to create the space to actually sit down and read them? So if you have books, if you think about your kitchen and you have these appliances and dishware and all those things, are they just out? Do you see them and you're feeling overwhelmed or even feeling anxious? If yes, please consider creating time. And, maybe to help to not overwhelm, maybe you think about, hey, 2 days out of a week, I'm going to spend 30 minutes, just 30 minutes. And you can think about it as a time blocking exercise. I'm going to spend 30 minutes, 2 days out of the week, and I'm only going to focus on that one area. And say it's the kitchen. I'm going to look through my appliances. I'm going to look through my utensils. I'm going to look through my plates and cups and bowls. And I'm going to see, do I really utilize these things? If I don't and they're out, let me put them away. Maybe you don't want to donate them yet because you might be getting ready to move into a different home, right? And so you want to keep them and put them away in storage. Put them away in storage. Or maybe you know that you're going to be downsizing. And so you know that this next space isn't going to have a ton of room. And so, again, maybe you still put them away, or maybe you donate them. Give them to another friend or family member that, could benefit from that item. Check in with yourself. I love this exercise where I ask my clients, and I do it for myself, to check in before, during, and after and notice the difference. Even as I'm teaching students, a class that I teach is a stress management class, and we do an exercise where they find something within their environment that they can clean. And so oftentimes the students will say, as a college student, we know that they have busy lives, of course, and so their room may not be the way they would want it. And so many students say that they really clean their room or clean a certain area within their home, and they describe their experience before, oftentimes, is feeling overwhelmed, like, where are you going to begin? And, oh, I really don't want to do this. It feels daunting. And then they reflect on during. They recognize it begins to feel therapeutic, that their anxiety levels decrease, and that they find some connections with things that they are organizing or filing away, and how that helps them to even connect to the here and now, the present, which is a mindfulness activity. And then they reflect on, after. And they have talked about, and I can relate to this, and maybe you can too, they have talked about this sense of ease, or this sense of peace, this sense of being proud that they conquered this daunting task. And so I ask you all to consider checking out the area within your home or your office. Again, for those that spend a lot of time in their office, and finding an area to say, I'm gonna work through this area, and I'm gonna reflect on my experience before, during, and after. And I truly believe that when you do that, you will feel a sense of relief, not just in the mind, but also even in the body. Again, environmental wellness is truly the relationship that I have with my environment. The understanding that the space in which you keep has an impact on your health, your mental, emotional health, and your overall well-being. And so being able to practice this exercise for environmental wellness can make a difference. And it not only makes a difference for the day, right, the day that you're doing this, but it'll also make a difference the next day, and the day after that, and the day after that. And this is not to say this is something that you do every week. It is an invitation to consider a monthly experience of this exercise and see the difference that it makes on your overall well-being. The next one is so important, and I believe all the 8 dimensions of wellness are important. This one stands out to me just with the season that I am exiting and the season that I'm entering into, and so many of you might relate. So Sunday, you all, was 100 days until the end of the year. There are 100 days left. Sunday is 100 days until the end of the year, this past Sunday. And so I'm excited about this for many reasons, not because of, oh my goodness, I have 100 days until the end of the year. What am I going to cram in? No. I am really looking at 100 days as a way to recenter into my hopes for how I wanted to end the year. And I can tell you that I really, of course, I had no idea what this year was going to entail. No one does. And so I am grateful to say that the end of the year is still about being more rooted in my relationship with God, being more deepened in that, practicing the things that I believe draw me closer to God. And then really being able to say and being able to look back on this year to say, wow, like I really practiced finding peace daily in the midst of the storm. So when you all think about, hey, how do I want to, finish up this year? The invitation is to consider writing down some things, not let me cram, not let me overwhelm myself, but but an opportunity to deepen your spiritual wellness, deepen your spiritual connection with your higher being. And so spiritual wellness really involves this developing or deepening, enhancing a sense of purpose, a sense of meaning, connection to something, a higher being than yourself. It looks for everyone differently. Okay, it looks differently for everyone. This could be meditation. This could be connecting with nature. This could be prayer. That's something that resonates with me. This could be realigning, reestablishing, redeveloping your values personally and professionally. It could be in the form of self-reflection, self-awareness. It could be gratitude practices daily. And so when I talked about rest, what I started with for September is let me learn how to rest on Sundays, because I know what rest means intellectually, right? I have an understanding of rest. I didn't have the intelligence, right, which is knowledge then applied. I didn't have the intelligence to apply rest into my life. And so I would say at the beginning, I didn't know what to do. We think about like, what am I going to do? And so rest is active. Rest is absolutely active. So I found myself first just kind of sitting on my couch and being mindful of my breath, practicing mindfulness using my senses. So the exercise that I really like, and I hope you all, try this out, is 5 things that I could touch, 4 things that I could see, 3 things that I could hear, 2 things that I could smell, and 1 thing that I could taste. And I noticed that I was just kind of doing that. And sometimes I would just focus on sight. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5 things that I could see, 4 things that I could see, 3 things that I could see, and so on and so forth. And that was the first couple of weeks. And then it was, hey, let me read. Let me just read or even listen. And so part of my day was reading and listening to scripture. The other part of my day was just reading and listening to maybe things that are related to the counseling field or entrepreneurship. And, that was really it. Then I began to do things like, hey, we bought a juicer. We invested in a juicer because we're also practicing this nutrition, being mindful of what we are putting in our body. And we really wanted to increase our vegetable and fruit intake. And so I would find that, hey, after I read or after I've meditated or prayed or just sat and did my senses exercise, then I would begin to just do juice. And that would be my day. And what I recognized was my mind was not worried or feeling anxious. My body wasn't feeling anxious about, oh my goodness, I didn't prepare for the week, right? Because as I am being mindful of rest, in the midst of that mindfulness, I'm also believing and understanding that God is taking care of the week because he's an eternal God. And since he already knows what is to come, he will guide me and prepare me. But I have to center my body. I have to not be juggling so many things in my mind to ensure that I leave room to be able to hear from him, to be able to connect with him. And so that is what rest has been for me. Now, I decided that as in preparing for, our next month, I'm going to continue rest because I do not believe that, only a certain amount of Sundays in a month is transformational for me. I do believe that because I value rest now that I have seen, the benefits to my body, I want to continue it. And in thinking about Sunday being that 100 days into the end of the year, I said, you know what, I'm going to do some things that'll help with journaling. And so you'll see that I launched my first journal. And in my journal, the journal is Mindful Journal, a faith-filled journal incorporating mental wellness and faith and meditation. In this journal, I actually created a section for just this 30-day reflection, okay? But if you want to, you can use it for the next 100 days. You can get my journal on Amazon, but it has 100 boxes where I invite folks to just begin with creating affirmations. And you can do that from 1 day to 100 days. And those affirmations are for you. They are to empower you. They are to remind you of who God created you to be. They are to show some self-love. They are to get you through some days that may be difficult. And so I am going to be participating in that exercise where I'm going to create my own, or I have been creating my own affirmations and reflecting on that and how it makes me feel. The next I'm super, super excited about is I think in 2022, I found, or I began following, even before that, Marshawn Evans Daniels. And she created 100 Days of Believing Bigger. It's a devotional journal. And so I pulled that journal out again and started the 100 Days of Believing Bigger on Sunday. And so I'm taking one day at a time. I'm looking back and reflecting on what I wrote and asking myself, what's different? What's different this time around? And it is really my opportunity to connect with God, even on a deeper level. I've recognized throughout my spiritual journey that God is there's so much depth. There's so much depth, and we have so much depth as He created us. And so I know that I'll learn something different. I will receive aha moments. I will receive, moments of affirmation in my journaling. But this is a great opportunity for me to practice that spiritual wellness. And so the invitation for you is what can you do? What are you willing to do as it pertains to your own spiritual wellness? Are you needing to, as the season is changing, are you needing to get back in nature, get connected with nature a bit more, be outside a bit more? One of the things that I'm excited about as we enter into fall is the ability to be outside and walking and listening to my music, whether that's meditative music, whether that's gospel music, whatever kind of music. It is an opportunity for me to connect, more spiritually with God. It's an opportunity for me to really allow my mind to slow down. I cannot emphasize this enough, you all. We really, it would be so beneficial if we practice just slowing down overall. Our body needs it. It is so stimulated often. For some people, it's right when they wake up, whether that be they have kiddos, whether that be they're a caregiver caring for someone, whether that be they just, they're juggling many things. They have a stressful work environment. Please know that your body is begging you to really slow down. And a great way is of course clearing up, the clutter or the busyness in the home, which is that environmental wellness. And it's also that spiritual wellness of, hey, what does my body need? What would help my body slow down? And when we are connecting our body to this higher being, when we're connecting our body to nature, we truly help our body to heal itself. Isn't that profound that we have all of this power inwardly And really, it's putting in the work, it's putting in the effort to do this, to help our body heal itself, to help our body calm. But we're often faced with these choices of, hey, I have so many other responsibilities. We often put ourselves last. So the call to action really is, we have a few more days left in this month. And then we have, again, I said Sunday was 100 days left in this year. How do you want to, and that's the question that I'm asking you all, is in what ways can you be more, prioritize more of yourself in this holistic wellness, in this emotional and mental wellness, environmental wellness, right? And spiritual wellness, not in a place to overwhelm, not in a place to rush. Oh, I only have 100 days till the end of the year. Let me cram everything in. No. But what can you do? What does your mind need? What do your emotions need? What does your body need? And being able to reflect on those things and say, you know what, I want to finish the year knowing that I've tried. And knowing that it's not going to be perfect, because there's no such thing. To those that are listening, there's no such thing as perfection. There is absolutely progress, preparation, process, but not perfection. We learn more about ourselves during and throughout our journey, not at this end outcome. And guess what? We don't really want to find an ending to this journey, because we have so much depth to us. We want to spend more time recognizing and processing and figuring out, what does this do for me? What does this do for me? Oh, you know what? As I mentioned before, walking really does something to me spiritually. It really does something to me emotionally and mentally. Spiritually, I feel more connected with God. Spiritually, I feel more connected with myself. I am able to smile more when I'm out walking and I'm in nature and I'm being aware of my five senses. It just helps to restore, and I feel restored when I'm out walking. What do you all need? And that's the question that I want you all to reflect on every day, actually. What do you all need? And I'm really, really excited, because in the next few months, so I hope that you all stay tuned in, stay locked in, to every fourth Wednesday, this Wellness Wednesday, because pretty soon I'm excited that I'll be really revealing and launching my framework. I'm so grateful that God has blessed me with this framework that I didn't even know I was using in my practice, and until now, until most recently, and I've been using for a very long time as I've practiced therapy. And this framework can be translated into any and every environment. And so I won't be going over the framework, all of the framework right now, but the beginning of the framework is that narrative, right? And so when I talk about what are you going to do? You have 100 days left until the end of the year. What are you going to do to better take care of your spiritual wellness and your environmental wellness? Or maybe you feel like you've touched on those two areas. Again, those are the two areas that I am working on for myself. What would be those other areas that you would want to work on? And as a reminder, the 8 dimensions of wellness are emotional wellness, so that mental emotional wellness, physical wellness, which includes nutrition, occupational wellness, intellectual wellness, financial wellness, social wellness, and as I mentioned in today's episode is environmental and spiritual wellness. So those are the 8 dimensions of wellness. I'll repeat it again: emotional or mental wellness, physical/nutritional wellness, occupational wellness, intellectual wellness, financial wellness, social wellness, and environmental and spiritual wellness. And so to help you in preparing for this question. How are you going to really touch on, one area? Think about one area. Again, the goal isn't to overwhelm. Think about one area you really want to touch and nurture and lean into, and be able to say that at the end of the year, I'm proud that I was able to, not in a worried or a frantic way, I was able to touch on this area of wellness. Again, I'm working on this environmental spiritual. But you have to ask yourself, what is the narrative around that area of wellness? And that's a part of my framework. Your narrative. What is the story that you are telling yourself? Sometimes we are telling ourselves a story that is based in a lie, y'all. And what that can look like is it's based in a comparison that we've made with ourselves or someone else. So let's give that example of social media. You are going to touch on environmental wellness, and you saw someone that you follow on IG or TikTok or whatever social media platform, and now you're starting to compare yourself. Well, that person has this organization system that is top notch, top tier, and oh my gosh, it makes me look like I can't organize anything, or that my space is just complete trash. That's the narrative that you're telling yourself. And so what does that narrative sound like? Not just comparison, but now you've completely poo-pooed on the system that you do have. Everybody has some type of system, whatever that is. Even if it's a pile of stuff in the middle of the floor in your home, that's still a system. It may not be a system that you really want to have, but it's the system that it's been working for you for the most part. But you really want to think about what that narrative is that you're telling yourself. Is it an encouraging narrative, or is it discouraging? Is it empowering you, or is it making you feel shameful? Be mindful of your narrative, you all. And so if your narrative is, I want to have a space that creates that when I walk into it, I feel peace, be encouraged. And the narrative is, I want this space, and I believe that I can get this type of environment, rather than I want this space because I saw that someone else has this space and I want it. No, not. What's yours is for you. What God has for you is for you. And what God has for other people is for other people. So when you think about how do I get into this gear of let me prepare for the end of the year in a very gentle, and if you can hear in my voice, and what I'm saying, I'm asking us all to be gentle, not to rush, right? Not to worry, not to panic, not to try to cram everything in. Our body doesn't need that. Our body already gets enough of that. And so really being able to say, my narrative around my space is this. For me, my narrative around my space is every little bit that I do to declutter or to organize benefits me mentally, emotionally, spiritually, environmentally, and that also trickles over to my family. That is there's less pressure there, and there is so many different ways that I benefit, but then I also help my family benefit. So again, this framework is it starts with narrative, and you can use anything and everything, right? When we dig deeper into my framework, we will use various examples of narrative and how our story and the story that we tell ourselves really impacts us. And the framework really shows that it impacts us in a way that keeps us in a cycle. And when we have an unhelpful narrative, it keeps us in an unhelpful cycle, and we stay there. So the image that you can think of is a hamster wheel, that we stay on this hamster wheel, and we really truly do not get off unless we take the time to challenge that original narrative, identify if there's any evidence to back that narrative up, any truth to it. And if there's not, we establish a new and helpful narrative. So we have an unhelpful narrative that we live in often, or we create, that is unhelpful and hurtful. And we stay in this cycle, we stay in this hamster wheel. Or if we don't want to stay in this hamster wheel, if we don't want to stay in this narrative, this unhelpful narrative, we reestablish a new narrative that is helpful, that is fruitful. It creates fruit for you. Even in that same way, we're in this cycle, but we're in a helpful cycle. We're in a helpful cycle that propels us forward rather than keeps us in one place, exhausted, overwhelmed, tired, and hurting and harming our body. So I hope you all will stay tuned to our upcoming episodes, Wellness Wednesdays, the fourth Wednesday of each month, where we're talking all things wellness. We're talking mind, body, soul, and spirit. And as I begin to share with you all more deeply my framework, I have seen my framework be taken on by clients and other members within my community, and I've seen it make a difference in their lives. I see it make a difference in my life, and so it's not a framework that I'm just sharing with you all. It's a framework in all things. Anytime that I'm sharing with others tools, resources, strategies, I'm using them as well. Please believe that I'm using them as well. And so I thank you all so much for listening, and I'll be back again on the fourth Wellness Wednesday next month. And so you all be well, be blessed, and really focus on prioritizing yourself. Thanks so much, Melissa. I appreciate you.
Wow. Great job, Sherri. What a wonderful information. Again, this is the information that you can actually take in, not just only today, but you can re-listen to this on any of our top podcasts. Any 13 of the top podcasts you can listen to Women Emerge with Melissa Lambert. You can also find us on Women Emerge Network on YouTube to go back and listen to this information and share this with someone you like, love, and trust. You can follow Sherri at her Instagram and Facebook at Holistically Divine org. That's Holistically Divine ORG, and Instagram at SSKWK22. You can also visit my YouTube channel at Women Emerge Network, and you can hear this information over and over again. We're here every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can visit us at womenemergeradio.com, womenemergeradio.com. You can follow me on Facebook at Melissa, Mellisa Lambert, Mellissas Lambert on Facebook and also on Instagram. You can also find me at Women Emerge Network, Women Emerge Wellness, and Lambert Legacy Financial on Facebook. You can also schedule some time with me to have a full, good conversation on how we can help you in any way possible. Go to Coach Melissa. That's Coach, Mellisa.com. Thank you again for tuning in to Women Emerge with Melissa Lambert. If you found this episode helpful, please share it with someone you like, love, and trust. I believe this information will be a blessing to them. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a comment, leave us a review. Let us know what we're doing, how we're doing it. So, again, Sherri, thank you so much for always showing up every fourth Wednesday and giving us some information for our mental wealth. Until next time, everyone, take care, take charge, and continue to be great. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Women Emerge with Melissa Lambert, where Melissa speaks with leaders, experts, and motivators who share their journeys and their stories through personal and professional growth, knowledgeable tips, and lessons learned that will empower you to grow. Follow Melissa and Women Emerge Network on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at MELLISASLAMBERT and at Women Emerge Network. And visit www.womenemergenetwork.com. Remember, when you know better, you can do better, especially when God is for you.